Hello, good morning. I'm back. And today, well, I hope you're all okay. So today, as I promised before, following up to the scheme of work, we're going to look at a sample of a lesson plan. So the lesson plan I have chose is a lesson plan for an ESOL entry 3, speaking and listening. But as you know, you can either use the same one or for your speaking and listening classes, or well, depending on the levels, or you can change it. Okay, so I'm going to share it with you, so you do have to bear with me a second, and I will emphasize on you taking screenshots. Okay, there we go. Right, I hope you can see it. Right, so in front of us here, there is a sample of a lesson plan. I'm trying to make it very simple so people don't, get confused with what is a lesson plan. Oh my God, what shall I do? Put this, not put that. No. Okay, so here is a very simple one. This is according to a college here in England, but I'm sure that it's not very different from, the colleges or schools or universities where you work. Okay, so the main parts of a lesson plan is the first one here, where you insert your college name, the level, the code, the code of the class, and your name. Okay, the date, the time. I've left this example here, lesson. So this was lesson 1 and 2. W, do you remember the scheme of work? Week 6. Okay. So we're going to look at the pronunciation. So it's just a brief summary to what I'm going to do. Pronunciation, conversation, to practice comprehension on vocabulary related to celebrating other cultures. Okay, so we know that the topic is celebrations with embedding other cultures. So, but we're focusing on pronunciation, listening, and speaking. Now we go back to the scheme of work. We go back to week 6, and we take some of the objectives. But this time, these objectives are specific for this lesson, not for the whole week. So what I wrote here, but again, this is only a guide. Okay, so you can edit it and change it according to your lesson. So the objectives of this lesson are: all learners focus on listening skills. Remember, it's an entry 3, speaking and listening. So all learners focus on listening skills to get the gist. It's only a gist. They're not going to understand everything from start. To get the gist, and you're happy when your learners get the gist of a text. Then progress to understand a new vocabulary. Just make sure when you present a new text, there are always some new words. Otherwise, it will become a repetition of your lessons, and that consequently lead the learners to be bored. All learners to identify what the text is about. So you're not going to mention that, oh, today we're going to learn about some celebrations or different celebrations in the world. Okay, let the learners do that. Read the keywords and practice pronunciation, because remember, they are new words. So some learners may know these words and others don't, but just make sure that these words are new. All learners to learn, memorize, because that's your aim. Then use some, not all of them. Oh, it's great if they use all of them, but we just don't expect them to use everything. Then use some entry three adjectives in their comparative and superlative forms. So you see, we have embedded a bit of grammar here. Okay. Just scroll down. Go back to the scheme of work. So within the scheme of work, we have put a general health and safety. But this is specific to your classroom now. Don't forget to put it. All inspectors want to see that. So my one here, or specifically to this lesson, is handbags under the tables to keep away from trailing wires, electricity, plugs and all that. No hot drinks on tables, health and safety. Now, because most classes in England are diverse in cultures, in beliefs, religions, colours, languages, we need to focus on equality and diversity. I did notice during breaks that one of the learners, or learners do tend to be in small groups. For example, people from Bangladesh are together, people from Pakistan are together, people from Poland are together. I didn't like that. Nobody likes that, because that doesn't serve the purpose of equality and diversity. So I did give them a bit of a warning. So for the purpose of equality and diversity, some learners will be reminded to include, I put a name here, Christine, in their conversation during break, when they've got their 5 or 10 minutes break. And this conversation has to be in English, okay? Because she speaks a different language, the group speak a different language. I need them to converse in English, okay? So that serves the purpose of equality and diversity. Everybody is equal. Okay, now we go to the lesson. Now, do you remember the part of differentiation in the scheme of work? So by now, you know your groups, you know who needs what. So for the differentiation in this particular lesson, it's a pair work. Weak, I do hate this word, but less able, I should change it. Less able learners, strong learners. So group work, 3 learners in a group, just mix and match them together. Nobody needs to know that learner A is a strong learner, and learner B is a weak learner, okay? No, just mix them together. Individual work when given examples. So obviously, if you're asking them WH questions, what, why, how, you're asking individual people. So you need individual examples and answers. And learners to express opinions, likes and dislikes, okay? Always remember that this is a sample, okay? I do want you to ignore the time. I never stick to it. You just can't. Right, so this is session 11, week 6. You start with welcoming the learners. Hello, good morning. Please have a seat and register. Now, as part of active learning, learners at this level, because it's quite a good level, are involved in starting the lesson. It is optional, but I prefer to do that because I want my learners to be active. That's why it's called active learning. So it's been a few years now. I never start the lesson with the teacher starter. It's my learners' tasks. So I think if you go back to the scheme of work, you will find it. Okay, so I had Khadija here. She's a learner. We'll do the starter today. Okay, but you would have planned this beforehand. So in the previous lesson, you would have assigned one of the learners to start the lesson. Now, some people might ask me, would the starter be related to the lesson? It's up to you. It is optional. You can ask your learner to start a lesson, to prepare a lesson according to the lesson theme, or if you want the learners to be more relaxed, you just ask them to prepare a starter of their own choice. I prefer it that way. Okay. Introduce the lesson or the session. Pronunciation is very important because remember, this is a speaking and lesson and listening task. So you're going to put the text on cards. If you go back to the second lesson I published about Aid and Sarah, you cut the text into small cards and group your students and ask them to reorder the sentences. So that's your starter after Khadija. Okay, so that in itself will take you about 20 minutes, maybe more. Right, then you move to explain the activity. I didn't specify it here because, again, it's your choice, it's your theme, it's your lesson, and it's your topic. You can deal with something like this. You can remove them. You can tell me it's rubbish, but this is only a guide. Learners to listen and write. Okay, some people don't have the ability to just memorize straight away, so they prefer to listen to you and write, take notes. Well, allow them to do that. Students to match words to pictures. Remember that you've got a smart board, and if you don't have a smart board in your college, in your class, it's okay. Just prepare some, pictures on cards. Students to look at other pictures, then come up with vocabulary. I use the word words as well. So vocabulary, just words, related to those pictures. So remember that they're producing vocabulary, only words, single words. But this could expand to a topic theme. Okay, just have a look at this side here. This is active learning. You monitor. Don't keep stopping them all the time. You observe. You may ask questions and the answer. You've got a smart board for your visual aids. You've got your groups for the discussion and peer assessment. Don't get involved. Let them assess each other. At the end, you give them the feedback. Okay. There is one other thing that you can do. Just try it. It might not work the first time, but it will definitely work with practice. Students, they like to be active. They don't just like to be sitting down. Ask them to go around the class, to check each other's work. They feel the ownership of the lesson, that they are in control, and that's what you want. Okay, so that's called peer assessment, and do it in turns. Students to revisit the text for a better comprehension. I do repeat and emphasize that this is only a guide. And usually what I do, because most of my conversations or, YouTube little short films are taken from YouTube, I actually copy the link into my lesson plan. Okay. I'm not sure what this was, but it definitely included the past simple. Some grammatical aspects. Here it's a quiz, which included, the past simple. I think, that was a long time ago. St. Patrick's Day. So I found a very helpful, I think it was about 5 minutes video on YouTube regarding St. Patrick's. They watched it, they discussed it, they compared it to, where they come from. And you are embedding English through celebrating other cultures in ESOL. By the way, ESOL is English for speakers of other languages. Okay. Now, this is really helpful. It saves you time. And also, if you decide to send the lesson to the learners for a better practice at home, they can just quickly log in and check it. Shall I answer the phone? Okay, just bear with me. I'm on Zoom now. Yeah. Please do, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Sorry about that. Okay, so if we go down, I have included a little bit of grammar here. I mean, grammar is embedded anyway, but sometimes you just need to pay particular attention to it. So in this part here, I have no idea why I put 20 minutes, because sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Just ignore the times. This is a very good website. It's called Engvid. Okay. And I, in particular, like this teacher, Rebecca. Please do check her. She's really good. And the lesson was about comparative and superlative adjectives. Okay. So Rebecca was teaching online. And all what I did, I was just there to support the learners to understand, in case they didn't understand Rebecca's accent or words, or just to explain something. Okay, so do go to engvid.com, and probably I'll just write it here. And check this website. Okay, now I'm coming to the end of the lesson, where I want my learners to do some work, because remember, all the rest of the lesson was active learning. They were discussing things, they were asking questions to each other, they were giving feedback to each other, they were assessing each other. But this time you want them to actually do some work. So that's why I have called it guided discussion. So learners to watch a 6-minute film about Diwali. Diwali is, I think it's a Hindu or a Sikh celebration. So once they've watched it, well, followed by a group discussion again for a few minutes. This will promote discussion in groups. It will then be followed by an assignment. An assignment is something like a homework you give them. Each learner to prepare a presentation on a special celebration in their home country and present it to class. Okay, so what they have watched, I think it was Diwali. It's in here, but you can choose any topic you want, any celebration you want. Eid, Ramadan, Christmas, a wedding, a birthday party, and you insert it here so the learners can check it at home. Okay, now this is the end of the lesson, and make sure you do this or something similar. It's the plenary. The plenary is a simple word which means, what have we learned today? You want to check. Purposely I put we, because remember, it's learner-centered, not teacher-centered. So we're working together. Yeah. So don't, if you want them to be more involved in learning, don't use the word I or you. Use the word we. What have we learned today? That could be just questions and answers. What could we improve? Is there something that we didn't do quite well? Yeah, opinions. What shall we do next? They might come up with beautiful suggestions. We've got something called ILP, plural ILPs, individual learning plan. It's a document between me and the learners where I write a feedback. Today, you have practiced your pronunciation very well and put a target. I would like, in fact, that's another thing that I will show you in the next lesson. Okay, so this is a very simplified version of the lesson plan. I'll go back so you can take a screenshot, and I hope it's helpful. Okay, so all right, so this is the first part. Please take a screenshot. Okay, done. Right, we'll move to the next part now. Excuse me. Done. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget to check ingvid.com. Screenshot. Okay, and we come in to the end of the lesson. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Right. Okay, so thank you very much for being here with me. And I would like you to take advantage of whatever I'm posting. And please do write some comments if you need me to improve something or to change something or something which is not quite right. You know, I'll be very happy to adjust things and improve them and share them with you again. Have a very good day. Bye-bye.